All right, so today we're jumping into the final chapter of the Convergence. What happens after the storm? It's been a week since the climax of the story, and we're about to find out what happened to the four people right at the center of it all. And their story really kicks off with one big question.
Right at the beginning, the source material asks this: when the storm has passed, what remains? And that question just perfectly sets the tone, doesn't it? We're not talking about the big, chaotic event anymore. We're looking at the quiet, maybe even harder part. What happens next? The rebuilding. So get this, it's Tuesday, January 21st. Only 7 days have passed since everything went down. But for Oksana, Max, Rachel, and Katya, this is day one of a completely new reality. The book puts it simply, 4 lives changed forever. So let's see what that actually looks like.
First up, we have Oksana. For her, the path forward is actually a path back to her roots. And this is where you really start to feel that sense of hope. See, Oksana doesn't just go back to Kramatorsk. She's choosing to rebuild her life there, on her own terms. And the one detail that says it all, her son, Taras, is walking again. It's this small, personal thing, but it's a huge symbol of their recovery, of moving forward. So while Oksana is finding her future by going home, Max is on a totally different track. He's taking all those skills he has and pointing them in a new and surprisingly legitimate direction. The key word here, the real game changer for him, is legally. Max is in Amsterdam now. He's teamed up with Willem, working for a financial transparency group. Think about it. He's doing the same thing, tracking dirty money, but now he's out of the shadows. He's brought his fight into the light, and that gives him a whole new kind of power. Okay, so Oksana is rebuilding a home, Max is rebuilding his mission, but Rachel, well, she's taken on the job of rebuilding the story itself. For a journalist like Rachel, this is where the real work begins. She's starting the book, but she's not just writing down what happened. She's trying to define what it all meant. And she's not messing around either. She's got a Pulitzer in her sights. She's not just reporting history, she's trying to shape it. And that brings us to our fourth character, Katya. Her story is all about renewal, but it comes from a place of closure, of intentionally and bravely closing one chapter to start a new one. Now, you might see closes the gallery and think it's an act of defeat, but it's the exact opposite. It's an act of liberation. That gallery was tied to her past, to everything that happened. By closing it, she's making a clean break. She's choosing, consciously, to build a new life, completely free from the weight of what came before. So let's just step back for a second. We've got 4 people on 4 completely different paths. Hope in a hometown, a legal crusade in Amsterdam, a book that could define an era, a life being built from the ground up. They're all moving apart, but they're all able to move forward because of one thing they all have in common. And that one thing is the real heart of this chapter, the shared truth. It's the glue that holds all their individual stories together, and really, it's what gives them permission to start again. I mean, this quote from the book just says it all, doesn't it? The truth was heavy, but it was lighter when shared with people who understood. That's the secret sauce right there. The weight of what they went through was crushing, but because they shared it with each other, it became bearable. They weren't alone in it. And that shared understanding is what makes everything else possible. And all of this builds to the final big idea of the story. Some stories don't have an ending, just new beginnings. This isn't a story that wraps up with a neat little bow. Instead, it fractures into 4 brand new stories, each one a fresh start that grew out of the wreckage of the past. So the story leaves us with this final thought to chew on. And what if every ending was an invitation? You know, an invitation to rebuild, to find a new purpose, to rewrite your own story. It's a pretty powerful thought that maybe the end isn't the end at all, but just the ticket to whatever comes next.